Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with your midday news. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Former Managing Director of the state-run National Energy Solutions Limited Nessol, Carolyn Warren, has provided reasons for her resignation from the agency. Mrs. Warren resigned with immediate effect from the company on Wednesday. Her resignation comes days after it was revealed that she was convicted over 2 decades ago on a drug charge. Mrs. Warren says that one of the reasons for her resignation is a rule which states that persons with a conviction ought not to be working in the public sector.
That has been at the back of my mind since the incident unfolded. And then the sustained, every day was just too much for both me and the company. So to end it all, I decided to walk away, one. And two, also that there is a rule in the public service that you cannot work with a public conviction, which I did not know before I went in there.
Mrs. Warren insists that she was never asked about her conviction. Meanwhile, opposition spokesman on energy Philip Paulwell has declared that the breaches his party has identified at Nessol are far greater than those which have been uncovered at the state-run oil refinery Petrojam. Mr. Paulwell has said that although the former managing director of Nessol has resigned, her assistance is still needed by Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee with its investigation into the operations of Nessol.
We need her to come and face the PAAC in Parliament, because there are some questions that I have to ask. The gentleman who was arrested and charged for the fine of millions of dollars, he was appointed by her to fill a certain position where he reported only to her. I know that Mrs. Warren was a signatory, and she was what you call an A signatory. And Mr. Pommels, who was charged with the crime, is a B signatory, and is the two of them sign a whole heap of checks. I want to see the checks. I want to see the contracts. And so I want Mrs. Warren to come before the PAAC.
Mr. Paulwell says there are more resignations to come.
She has resigned, but there are some other resignations to come. The minister has to resign. And ultimately, the Prime Minister has to resign.
He was addressing PNP supporters at a Portland Divisional Conference last night. A number of firearms and a series of ammunition were seized in the last 48 hours by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. According to the Constabulary Communications Unit, the majority of the seizures were in St. James and the St. Catherine North Division, which are under a state of public emergency. Police Sergeant within the Communications Unit, Sanjay Mitchell, provided an update to TVJ News on Thursday.
The police seized approximately 8 firearms, including a high-powered rifle, and over 350 rounds of ammunition. Of note, the state of emergency produced 7 of those firearms and over 246 rounds of ammunition. Several individuals have been taken into custody in relation to the Lottery Scam Act in St. James following the seizure of the 2 weapons. That's the pistol and the rifle. We are making headway in some of the investigations, and we hope to make some arrests soon. And in the meantime, we're asking persons with information about these weapons and the seizures to contact the police at 119-811 or 311. And we're also reminding citizens that there's a cash reward for weapons seized.
In the meantime, Mr. Mitchell provided details on the triple murder in Tower Hill, St. Andrew.
More than 2 children who were killed in Tower Hill, St. Andrew recently. The police have charged a brother and sister who were taken into custody. They are Jamelia Leslie, 27-year-old, and her brother, Javon Leslie, also 27 years old. Both persons were charged with triple murder, arson, and burglary. They're expected to be before the courts on August 2nd.
Reports are that 29-year-old Kasif Jackson, 1-year-old Avere Williams, and 7-day-old Aranza Williams were found dead at their home on Wednesday. They were found by a relative at their one-bedroom house. The room was also set ablaze. Controversy is brewing between supporters of the country's two major political parties over a roadwork project in Lioneltown, Clarendon. But what members of Parliament have to say about the project is adding more fuel to the fire. It's a battlefield in Lioneltown, Clarendon between the Jamaica Labour Party JLP and the People's National Party PNP supporters. At the centre of the contention, Member of Parliament for South West Clarendon Noel Arscott and Member of Parliament for South East Clarendon Rudyard Spencer. The controversy stems from a contract for road rehabilitation works stretching from Darkinspen to Racecourse in the parish. Work distribution has been posing a challenge between the two parties. Mr. Arscott accused the JLP of being the primary beneficiary of works being done.
It cannot be that work is being done and that victimization, as we see elsewhere, is also now permeating to the local level at this low level. At this low level we need peace and unity in the community. And if we don't share the work equally, the tension will continue. And this is Lioneltown, and I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens of Lioneltown. Let the thing be fair. Let us share the work equally.
However, the Southeast Clarendon MP insists that Mr. Arscott's statement is not true.
Mr. Arscott is a liar if he said that.
Say that.
No.
Yeah?
Because the work was given out and the PNP get their third of the work.
There is some additional work to be done in the area, and Mr. Spencer says an agreement was made for the PNP to get 30% of the work. So what's the problem?
I'm asking that it be fair that we get a share of the job being offered. Right now we have 500 meters of sidewalk and drains to be done on the southwest Clarendon side. And all I'm asking is that it be given to persons on the southwest Clarendon side and it be fairly shared between the persons from southwest Clarendon.
But Mr. Spencer said all the PNP needs to do is ask for the job.
So far as I am concerned, there is more than 30%, more than half the work is yet to be done. If they want the work, all they have to do, present themselves and they will get the work. That's all.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is seeking to entice investors from the African continent, noting that tourism remains a lucrative area for investment. Speaking at a town hall meeting in South Africa yesterday, Mr. Holness said the Caribbean region and Jamaica in particular has not yet maximized its tourism potential. He explained that this is because only a fraction of the number of people wishing to take a vacation in the Caribbean currently do so.
You know, they say that the Caribbean is in the top 10 places that people would wish to visit when they think of a vacation. But the Caribbean as a whole gets somewhere around 30 million visitors. The global tourism movement is about 1 billion people. So you see, we have not yet fully exploited. And that's a lot to do with practical things, such as airlift agreements.
He said he was hoping to see more South African visitors and investors.
There's significant potential for investments in hotels and attractions. And we have major interests coming from the Spanish, from the Europeans who keep investing. We would love to have South Africans coming and investing in the Caribbean region. Jamaica in particular, of course.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court was yesterday told that confusion over the spelling of the surname of the former general manager of Melia Braca Village Resort in Trelawney led to him being arrested and charged 2 weeks ago. Dimitri Kosvogiannis appeared in court to answer charges of breaching the Larceny Act and the Revenue Act. His attorney, Peter Champagny, lamented that the police did not seek the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions before charging the former hotelier. He declared that the case was unlikely to result in a conviction. Mr. Kosvogiannis is charged with having 2 taxpayer registration numbers with different surnames. He's scheduled to return to court on September 25. Now the cops say his arrest followed a probe into allegations of fraudulent activities involving 2 major banking institutions. He's accused of obtaining credit facilities from the institutions using different taxpayer registration numbers and names. The candidates vying for the vice presidency posts within the People's National Party have been issued with guidelines for their campaign ahead of the election, which is set for September this year. The PNP called a press conference at its headquarters where the candidates signed the Code of Conduct.
They will agree to conduct their campaign in such a manner as to enhance the democratic traditions and reputation of the party, to avoid personal attacks or the denigration of other candidates, and to conduct a fair campaign and refrain from any threats to voters, that is to get votes by threat, bribery, or other improper means of inducement.
It also includes campaign financing rules as well as social media guidelines. A St. Thomas woman is this afternoon requesting assistance after fire destroyed her home 2 months ago. Enid Plummer, who lives in Phillipsfield, St. Thomas, has 3 children who are scheduled to return to school in September. But she says due to the loss of her home and belongings, she's uncertain what will happen when the new school year begins.
Would need some assistance for some zinc and board and door and window, because I still don't get any assistance to fix it up. So I'm asking anybody, please, who can assist me in fixing the house.
Miss Plummer, who earns a living by selling at the Alice Primary School, says she received a call on May 9 that her house was engulfed in flames. She says upon reaching her home, she realized that there was nothing she could do but wait until the fire was extinguished. Now, to assist Enid Plummer and her family, you can contact her at 876-364-2192. That's 876-364-2192. On to international news now. We go to the United States. 6 large fires are scorching parts of California, and one in particular, the car fire, seemingly exploded late Thursday, killing 1. We go to the CNN for more.
As we mourn the loss, we also battle a fire that is moving extremely quickly.
A second person has been killed battling dangerous wildfires burning across the western United States. The car fire northeast of Redding, California intensified Thursday night, killing a dozer operator. Almost 30,000 acres have burned since the fire began on Monday. Things quickly turned harrowing Thursday for the community as a wall of flames headed towards them.
And right now we're being evacuated. That's why we are kind of closing out right now. Yes. We are going to leave the station because it is now unsafe to be here.
Several structures have been destroyed and hundreds more are being threatened in the town with less than 95,000 residents.
This is that new normal, that unpredictability, the large explosive growth fires.
At least 5 babies in the neonatal unit at Mercy Medical Center are being moved to hospitals in Sacramento as precaution and to free up some Mercy staff members to evacuate their own homes. CAL FIRE tells CNN they're preparing in case the entire hospital needs to be evacuated. Earlier this month, a firefighter was killed battling the Ferguson fire near Yosemite National Park. That fire has forced the closure of some of the park's most visited areas.
And the time now for sports. Highly rated head coach of the Sprint Tech Track Club and the vice principal of academics at GC Foster College, Maurice Wilson, has shot down suggestions that he will be leaving the sports college to join Jamaica College ahead of the next season.
If I was leaving GC Foster College, I would not be here this morning. I am a GC Foster born and bred person. Also a Myconian. But as far as there's no truth to those rumors, none whatsoever.
There have been rumors since last week that Wilson could be joining Jamaica College as their technical director, a move which would also see him making the Old Hope Road-based institution the home for his young track club. When contacted by phone last Friday, Ian Forbes, who manages the sports program at Jamaica College, said he had no knowledge that Wilson was offered a position at Jamaica College. TVJ Sports caught up with Wilson on Thursday at the Sam Sharp Teachers College in St. James, where officials of that institution and G.C. Foster College signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU for sports massage and coaching courses. Coach Wilson spoke of the benefits of the MOU between G.C. Foster College and the Sam Sharp Teachers College.
Simply that G.C. Foster is the mecca for training of masseurs. As you know, Marcia Sawyer-Forbes, a pioneer from the physiotherapy department, she was the one who started the massage program. We have produced masseurs that are world-class, well-renowned. Usain Bolt masseur was trained at G.C. Foster College. Ewan Blake, so many of our top sports personnel, they were trained at G.C. Foster College. So we are the mecca, the training center at G.C. Foster College. But we must also acknowledge that there are different areas in which you can specialize as a massage therapist. There's a recreational aspect, there's a sporting aspect. But we provide the opportunity for training for both areas.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon and have a great day.